Hi everybody, and a very warm welcome back to my channel. Now today you find me in very different surroundings than those that I normally film in, and I'm not in my studio at home, but I'm actually in my gallery in Hythe. And in fact, this is where I normally sit to paint when I'm in the gallery. I got everything set up here ready to go. My easel, everything else is behind me here, and I'm able to talk to clients, show them around and do framing orders, whatever is needed of me when I'm here. But I can get on with doing some painting. But I must apologize for going any further. If the acoustics here are a little different to the norm, it's because it's quite voluminous, very high ceiling. So it's very, very hard to get the same or exact audio that you normally are used to. With that said, why are we here? Well, from time to time, companies send me an email and ask me to review a product. It could be paint, it could be pencils, it could be anything really to do with art or art products. And if I like the product or I've used the product generally, I'm more than happy to do that, on the proviso that I will only give a very, very honest review. I will give an honest review. And this video is no different to that. A company called Kraftgeek reached out to me recently and said, we have this lovely tripod easel. Would you take one on? Would you use it? And would you give your audience an honest review about it? Now I looked at it and I looked at a few other YouTubers that have been putting out videos about this, and I felt it was a really nice piece of kit, a nice product. And I felt, well, in here in my gallery, it has multiple uses, in as much as I sit here with this great big easel, and it is a big lump of wood in the middle of my gallery. It takes up an awful lot of space. So I felt that something like a tripod easel, that easy to put up, easy to put away, would be a fantastic addition to me painting in this environment. At the same time, I do an awful lot of demonstrations to people, to groups. And again, it seems to me, or it would seem to me, because I haven't actually used it yet, it would be a great addition to that scenario as well. On top of that, most of you know that I do a lot of plein air, and to take this out in the field and see how it works in winds, in nicer days and whatever, it doesn't matter. I just want to take it out there and see how I get on with it in the plein air scenario as well. So this video, I hope, if I don't make it too long, will show you in here being used, not necessarily in front of a group, but the idea will be very, very similar, and also to take it outside and do a little plein air study and see how I get on with that, and give you at the end of it a honest opinion whether it's something you should consider getting or something you should avoid. Now, from what I've seen so far, I don't think it's going to be the latter. I think there's a lot of positives about this little piece of kit, and I want to sort of demonstrate that to you. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to turn it down. I haven't even opened the box yet. It's still, as they sent it to me, I haven't even looked inside. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm not going to film too much of the unboxing. I just want to show you what the product is, and then hopefully we can get on and do a bit of a live demonstration using it and show you some of the features of this, and hopefully answer the question whether you should get one or not, especially if you've seen it already and you're sitting on the fence. Do you buy one? Do you not? Hopefully I can answer that question for you in this video. So stay till the end and I will give you my thoughts, and hopefully that will help you out. Okay everybody, there you go. One lovely packaged Kraftgeek easel tripod. And I'm itching to see inside, see what this thing actually looks like. So let's get this outer case off. It's just really nicely put together as packaging alone. And again, you've got a nice description, the name Kraftgeek on there and there, well, everywhere you look, of course. Let's see what's inside. Well, immediately what strikes me is that it's really nicely presented. I don't know what this type of material is, but it fits the whole thing like a glove. It's not going to move in transit, and it's for once not this awful polystyrene, which is so unfriendly for the environment. But this may be just as bad, I don't know, but it certainly seems a lot better than the other polystyrene that you normally get things packaged in. This is an easy quick start guide. It shows you the fundamentals of opening, twisting the legs and the clips and stuff that you need to understand on your product. So that's easy, that's good. And there it is, look at that. Now, before I go any further, you can buy this easel tripod in several different versions. Now, it is purely an aesthetic. It's entirely up to you which one you buy. I went for the dark wood and the black. You can get an all black one, you can get an all white one, and you can get a light wood and white one. Now, I went for the dark purely and simply that, you know, I know what easels look like after a little while. And yes, the normal wooden easels are beechwood and something like that, which can get very dirty, very grubby. But a lot of tripods are black, and I'm used to that sort of look as well. So I felt this nice dark wood one with the black would be a lovely addition. So let's get it out and let's see what it's all about. All right, box out the way. It's not as heavy as I thought it would be. I expected it to feel heavier at 3.9 kilo, but it really isn't that bad at all. What I really like about this is it's just a completely ergonomic feel, shape to it. It's compact, it's easy. It would slip in a rucksack so easily to transport around without weighing you down too much. So I think that's a very big plus. So let's open up the legs. Now, I've not done this before. Let's just see what it's like. It is locked down like so, and then you've got the back leg which you can pull out. That will come down and lock into place. Now, I don't know if any of you have used over time these cheaper sketching easels that you used to be able to get. We can still get them. They're very cheap and cheerful, and they're like a darn deck chair. They just collapse and fall over and do all sorts of things. This, I feel, is very, very sturdy, and I think that the ideal for so many purposes. If you were to use this ideally for a desktop easel, perfect. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's got lovely rubber feet to hold it in place on all three legs. And that is just going to be non-slip on any surface. That's perfect. But instead of having a tabletop easel, a studio easel, a field easel, this thing will do, I think, will do all three jobs. So it's one purchase, and it is versatile, and it will go anywhere you want it to go and do the job you ask of it. All right, now to get this set up, I'm going to have to do this with a wider field of view on the camera. But just quickly, you've got things like this for the artwork to sit in, your canvas panel. It is quite wide. And, you know, it will take very wide canvases. That said, if you've got a board, you may want to put something in there to stop it moving. However, I don't think that's a big problem from what I've seen. I quite like the idea. What I will say is that there is quite a spread between these two areas here. So if you are painting on small panels, you may want to have a larger panel overall to sit on this, and then just tape or fix your smaller panel to that in order to paint. Otherwise, it will just fall through and will have no effect at all. But I think that you don't want anything too much thinner than that, because you will cause a problem for yourself with rocking in this fashion. So just get yourself a larger piece of board to act as a baseboard, and then affix your artwork to that to continue painting. And the same thing when you're out in the field somewhere with it. Now here you've got the top, you have a very similar opening here which will grip your canvas, and indeed I think you'll find that you've got yet another one there, and that will hook down. I don't know if you can see that too well, but you can hook that down in push there or there and put it away. So it really is nice, and it does not feel cheap or nasty. It's well engineered. It's nice and firm, and hopefully after much use that will remain the case. Sometimes these things can get very, very flimsy with lots of use, and they don't remain as they first started. But this looks nice. It does look nice, and it will hold there, and that you can hold it there. In fact, you can probably roll that down a little bit and sort of hold and sort of grip the canvas top or panel that way. You could actually do it like that, and hold your panel at the top. If it's just a board, just bring that over a little bit. One thing I would say is if you are gripping a canvas or a panel with this, then make sure when you've finished using it to just clean it off. There will be nothing worse for this but to leave it coated in paint where you've gone over the top of it because you're trying to get all your canvas painted. Just clean it off. Just have a little bit of care when it comes to using this product, because you don't want to end up with something so caked in paint that the operation here will no longer operate for you, and that will be an awful thing to do. And of course you've got a spring-loaded top here, so this will go up, and you've got extra room. I'm not sure what the dimensions are from here to here on its maximum, but I think you've got an awful lot of room there and a lot of scope to do larger panels. And of course, because of the width of this, you've got extra room going this way, and so you can have much longer panels in. Not sure whether I want to put my big hippo painting at 4 foot long in this, but it may work, and I haven't tried that, so I can't be critical in that regard. Now, okay, for the legs, I will do that in another camera position because obviously they're long, you're not going to see them in the shot, but they are quite a simple operation that you literally just turn that like that, pull out the leg, and once you've got it to the desired height, you lock it off, and then it will not move. And it's a nice idea to have this telescopic leg that you can just put in and do it all the way out, just turn it there and it's done. Now what also is really a nice little bit, if I can take this to the bottom foot, you've actually got a measure here. So if you are on uneven ground, you can sort of get this right, or you can, if it's on even ground, you can match your legs very easy, lock them off like so, and you're good to go. And I like that idea. And on top here, you have a very natty idea of putting a tripod 1/4 inch thread. So if you want to put a camera on here to film what you're doing, or for whatever reason, you could probably have maybe a small umbrella or something like that on a tripod mount there, and just to fix it to the top of your painting. You could have a makeshift sun shield. You can have a nice sunscreen on here that you can put on using a tripod mount and just have that there. Indeed, you could quite easily have one of these T-piece tripod mounts with 2 other receptacles to take 2 other things, where you can have one with a camera, one with some other apparatus such as a sun shield, both fixing primarily into that top. So it really is a well thought out piece of kit, and I got to say I'm impressed. I really am. But let's hope I'm still impressed at the end of using it, because this is just showing you out of the box. So I'm going to put this away, and then I'm going to relocate, and hopefully we'll see this lovely piece of kit in action further down the road. So I'm going to set it up in the studio, and I'm going to paint with it out in the field and tell you how we get on. Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome back. Now this, as I've shown you already, is my standard easel for the gallery, and although it's not the biggest, it is quite an imposing piece of furniture when not being used by me. It's great when it's in use, but invariably when I'm working in other parts of the gallery, it just sits here and it blocks so much of the view. Nothing wrong with that, and had I not got this lovely new easel from Kraftgeek, I would have probably carried on quite happily with this one indefinitely. And the one I've got at home is an even bigger Maybeth easel for the job as well. So what I'm going to do is replace this one for the moment, and I'm going to put the Kraftgeek up instead and see what it looks like, see how it works for me, and if it works well in here, then I can see it working great for demonstrations out there to my classes and also to other groups around the country when I go off and do a demonstration to somebody. So I'm going to get this set up, get it replaced, see what it looks like, and let's do a little painting on it and see what happens. Okay guys, so the easel's out the way. There's the Kraftgeek. Let's get it set up and let's see if we can do a little painting on it and see how we get on. Now the operation, as I've already shown, is very, very simple. Just open everything up, just lock it into place, and that makes sure that's not going to collapse on you. And these legs are so simple to use. Turn them, lock them off, and you're good to go. Now I've got many photographic tripods, and some of them were not cheap to buy, and some of them have got this mechanism of a telescopic leg. And I've got to say that even though they were very expensive tripods on the day, and still are, they're not as well made telescopic leg wise as these seem to be. These really are quite nice. So there you go, one easel. Takes up a lot less room than that thing over there, gotta say. Less imposing. And if I don't want this on show when I'm not painting, I simply put it away in a heartbeat, and it's not a big deal. So yeah, I think it's really, really nice. Now, I've got it set up to stand at, although as you can see, I often sit down when I'm painting in here. So it gives me both options very, very easily. One of the things that I've seen on a few videos is the working height to this. Now, I've got to sort of answer that question because I don't see that there's a problem. I feel that when I work on a normal tripod, I've got the tripod head about here, and my palette and my back stand, as it were. I've got open box M I use most often, but I've got others as well. Lots and lots of different plein air kits, I've got to say. Way too many. But they all end up at about this sort of height, so it's not for me a problem. I do know though that people think that it could be. I don't see it as such. The only problem that you may have is if you want to work on a small panel plein air, and it may be, you know, you're down here, it may not work for you in that regard, especially if you're like me, you're about 6 feet tall, and you know, you don't want to stoop to paint. That's uncomfortable. It's going to hurt your back and your neck. So ideally you need to make this work in such a way that it is not a problem. And I think I've come up with my own idea, having looked in advance before I took this on, to say, well, yeah, if you do X or you do that, then it will work quite easily. And this is what I've come up with. Now you can't, these two supports here that take your canvas, you cannot make them really much closer together because your canvas or panel will rock in them. So you need them a certain area apart. That's fine, not a problem with that. And the top, we know, goes up as well. So you've got a room to be able to put that on, and a little spring top on there just to make it tension up a little bit more. And of course, you've got these two clips here that will allow you to clip and fix your board, panel or canvas. So that's what we're dealing with, and we have to make this kit work for us in the best possible way. What you can do is maybe two things, and I'm going to show you something that I stole, in a way, the idea certainly, off of somebody a long time ago, and it was quite simply a piece of board. Now this is very crudely done. Let's turn that around. Very, very crudely put together. It's quite heavy because I use very thick MDF there and glued some board on top of it as well. But it served me well in here when I'm working on small panels like daily paintings and things like that, when I don't want to go too big with my artwork. And equally in the field when I may be using a 9x12, 10x8, or even a 6x8 like this. I need to be able to work on it comfortably without bending over. And if I'm working on it down here, it's not too bad. If you're the sort of person that works with the brush very, very close, I can see it hurting. But in a sense, you have a long handled brush, you should be working back here. So the angle to this is much less acute than working down here and trying to get too close to your work. Never works. Come back, use the full, let's get a brush, use the full area. Hold your brush back down here, ideally, and you can work on this even at this level. I may argue that down here it could even be getting a little too low, but not a problem. So why does this, or how does this work? Well, quite simply, let's just put in this piece of board. Let's put that in there, and I can now put this in. I can put that there, put that quite happily on there. And my canvas panel, it is canvas panel, my board to paint on is locked into place. No problem. I can work on any dimension on the height of a board from there to there, and it will sit in, and I can work on a width of board, well, as long as I really want to, and it will lock in place. Now, if you feel that having made something like this to go on your Kraftgeek easel, if you want it higher, just this base piece that you glue onto the backing board, make it higher. Make the whole thing start a little higher. And if you know the dimensions of the panels that you normally work on out in the field, then this is quite simple as well. You just simply make the whole apparatus to fit your standard boards. Whether you do it as a portrait or whether you do it as a landscape format, doesn't matter. You can just make the math up, work it out and plan it, and then execute the making of something like this quite simply. Now, you can make it a lot lighter. I've made this out of heavy board, and if you had a thinner piece of MDF, like 3mm, 2 pieces of that, it will be so much lighter than this 6mm. And yeah, it's not as much to carry around with you. You could trim the sides down a little bit so that they sit on these bars quite nicely without too much overhang. You don't really need that because it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to suddenly move this way or that way, especially when you do that and lock it in. So I think that's one way. Another solution to this whole thing, if you feel it's a problem for you, is quite simply have a simple piece of board. I've just turned this one around, but if you had a flat piece of board and you maybe glued if you know the panel size you normally work on, if you glue a small piece of wooden strip wood, something like that, just maybe a 1/2 inch square, it doesn't have to be much, just glue that across there, make sure it's level, that's important, but you can then put a panel on. If you have it set like this, you can put a panel on that you can, like that, and then that will come down and lock that onto your bar, and you've got your panel locked in place. It's not going to go anywhere. You can lock it down like that if you want to, and just move that. I've always said, I said earlier that if you are painting with this and getting painting on, make sure you keep this absolutely clean. You don't want to wreck it. But that's another way of doing it. I think personally, this is easier to carry around, but not as adjustable as the one that I've just shown you. I think that one I've just shown you is an ideal way of changing your panels and having a nice setup. But whether you're working here or sitting down working at it, whatever height you've got it at, something like this to work on smaller panels that will generally fall through this gap, this is an ideal solution. And I think that this way of doing it, for me personally, is the way that I will move forward. I will remake one of these this weekend actually, and I'm going to use 3mm board. Going to cut it down a little bit, just to about 1/2 inch or so over each of these 2 supports, and I'm going to use thinner wood and do some mathematics, raise this up a little bit if I feel I need to, and yeah, work away. And then when you're working, it's great. If you want it up here, that's great too. You can just change the format. So I'm going to set this up now. I'm going to reduce the leg size down because I'm going to sit, I'm going to do a little bit of painting, see how I get on with this, and yeah, just see. We'll just see what happens. And I think I'm really chuffed with this. I've got to say, I don't normally get too excited about some things, but I think this is a bit of a game changer. There are other options out there, tripod and pochard ways of doing things, but I think this, for lightness, for ease of use, and for cost, because it doesn't cost a fortune. Some really sleek tripod systems that you can buy for your plein air cost £200, £300, £400 on their own without any kit. And this is just set up ideally, and I don't know what the exact price is. I will put the details of that under the Show More tab, along with any discount codes and stuff, should you wish to buy one of these and get your own one. But yeah, I'm going to get it set up before I ramble on too long. All right, so I'm ready to go. There's the easel, it's all set up. I am sitting at it, so I am not going to be standing up for this one. I'm just sitting down. I've got an 8x8" panel in here. It's a 2.4 MDF and it's got 3 coats of gesso on it. And the last coat is a lovely Imprimatura, which I love to use, which is made up of an umber and some burnt sienna, rubbed back to where I want it to be. But it gets rid of that white panel and it gives me a nice mid-tone color which harmonizes when you're painting as well. So right, let's get on and let's see what happens. So I've got a few Rosemary & Co brushes here and I've got my palette ready to go. Let's just do a little bit of a drawing. I'm going to use a bit of umber and a little bit of sienna and just put in or lay in a little bit of a horizon line. Let's say go through here somewhere very, very quickly. And you can see I'm drawing, I'm working. This is perfect for me. I'm holding my brush further back so I don't need to work right in on the panel, as so many people tend to do. And it does also give a much looser style of work. So I'm just going to come in. I'm not working from reference. I've done so many landscapes with lovely sunsets in them that I am just working out of my head. So there will be nothing for you to follow along to. Just enjoy. I'm just going to set the rest of this to music and just paint for a little bit. It's not such a tutorial on painting. It's more about this piece of kit. So I'm just going to do this and hope you enjoy it and I'll catch you at the other end. Okay everybody, one little sunset painting off the cuff just to demonstrate how good this lovely tripod easel is from Kraftgeek. And it is a real nice piece of equipment, I gotta say, and I thoroughly recommend it. It's so versatile and I am personally going to use it a lot in the future, both in here in the gallery when I'm teaching to my classes and also when I'm doing some plein air out in the field. I'm going to test it there next, and I will do a video to follow up this one where I take this lovely tripod easel out in the field, put it through its paces, see what it can do and see if I'm still as happy with it as I am right now. But I can't thoroughly recommend this enough. It is a nice piece of kit and it's well made, well engineered, and for the price point is an absolute must in any artist equipment stash, as it were. But I'm a little biased because I love collecting equipment. I've got so many pochard boxes and I've got a lot of bits and pieces of equipment and I love buying more. So yeah, there you go. If you're interested, as I say, all the details for where you can buy this and with a little bit of a discount code, I believe. So check it out, and if you want to get one, I don't think you're going to put a foot wrong. Take care. Bye-bye. See you on the next one, a follow-up to this one. Bye-bye for now. you.